Hey, what's going on, my frosty little friends? My name is Frosty Alpha. Welcome back to week 3, our team builder for the New York Kecleons in the RBL week 3. This week we have, there's a couple of announcements I want to make first. One, after last week, we decided to make a drop and use one of our free agency picks, and unfortunately, Archeops was no longer as valuable as when I first drafted him. And I chose another mon that I felt had a little bit more utility. Actually, it's probably one of the best utility mons in the game. And so we decided to drop Archeops and use our RU pick, use another RU pick, and we picked up Smeargle. Smeargle, I think, is going to be a great addition to the team. He gets access to pretty much every hazard in the game, any move in the game, pretty much. And so there are going to be some fun sets and fun things we can do with Smeargle, and I think Smeargle was just a better pickup. It was one of those ones I was debating after I did the Archeops pick, but it wasn't until after last week that I realized that Smeargle was going to be probably a little bit more valuable. But other than that, let's get into our week 3 team builder. We were playing the New York Kecleons of VadeWilkesBoothe. Last season we played him. We barely squeaked out the 1-0. I don't remember much particulars about the match. I really don't. I remember he brought mixed. God, I'm so used to my glasses being on. So if you see me like try to move my glasses, because I'm not wearing them, so I'm trying to get used to it. But I remember he brought some interesting sets. One of them being mixed Mega Garchomp. So he was able to take out Skarmory with that, which was, I guess, it was good for him. Defensive wall gone. But he actually has a really good team this year. He has some speed. He has some power. He also he has one of those teams that does not have a lot of weaknesses to it. So I think the most he had, I think, was a fighting weakness. And actually, let me just look down. Oh, here we go. Trusty piece of papers. Vade did not have very many weaknesses. He had some fighting weakness. He had some grass weakness, an ice weakness, but nothing over usually 3 mons. So it's kind of hard to build for his team this week because he only has maybe 2 or 3 mons that are weak to a specific type. So a lot of his hits are going to be very neutral hits, and so I've devised this plan to kind of deal with that. Now for his team, he drafted well. He was actually one of the first ones to take a he was actually one of the first or the second one to take a UU Mega. So he does not have an OU Mega. He has a UU Mega, which gave him 3 OU picks. And his 3 OU picks were dynamite picks to begin with. So his team consists of Mega Blastoise, which also comprises of regular Blastoise, Mew, Infernape, Rotom Wash, Nidoqueen, Noivern, Aromatisse, Dusknoir, Regirock, Kecleon, Audino, and Scrafty. So I mean, he has a really good team. I thought about bringing Luxray with Intimidate, since a lot of his physical mons would very much not appreciate Intimidates, but I just could not see the basis for bringing him this week, just because I thought of a different plan to how to handle Vade. My main concerns right now are Mew, also Rotom Wash, Nidoqueen, and Infernape. Those are probably the 4 biggest ones, and Noivern is not too far behind it with Blastoise. So they are concerns. Scrafty is a concern if he sets up. Otherwise, I usually will outspeed it, and I can actually take it out. So I am bringing offensive Sylveon this week. So you guys will see that Sylveon can take out that Scrafty, but as long as he doesn't get a Dragon Dance up, because if he gets a Dragon Dance up, more than likely I can get one-shotted by a Poison Jab. So, but I am trying to. I do think he's for some reason going to bring the Dusknoir and the Kecleon, possibly even the Audino this week. I have done some stuff with it, but they are normal types, so I'm not too horribly worried about it. For some reason, I definitely see that Nidoqueen coming and the Infernape. And there's no reason why he wouldn't bring Blastoise this week. If he doesn't bring Blastoise, I'd be quite surprised. But I mean, there's so many options of what he can bring and how he can build that it makes it really kind of tough to do this week. But as you guys can see, we did build our team, and we do have a couple of new players coming in this week, especially our new RU pickup, which I will get into his set. But going right off the bat, we'll go right into it. First mon we're bringing is our Crocodile, then the Air Crocodile. It is Scarfed Moxie. So this set is built to handle pretty much anything. The hope is to get rid of the levitate mons, so that way I can earthquake sweep later using Moxie and all of that, because even Blastoise, if it's semi-defensive, does not appreciate earthquakes, especially at +2. +2 still does like 50-60%, and if he's weakened at that point, there's not much he's going to be able to do but give me a Moxie boost. And if I get up to +2, I can pretty much take out most things. If not, Crunch handles most of it. You know, a lot of mons take neutral damage. I think only 2 mons resist it, with that being Infernape and Scrafty. But other than that, it's a pretty good set. I think it was the best set I could have chosen. And for this, he's going to be Adamant Nature, 252 speed. He is running Moxie, he is running Choice Scarf. He's going to be rocking Earthquake, Knockoff, Crunch, and Dragon Claw. Now, Earthquake is pretty much to sweep everything on the ground, to do massive amounts of damage. Knockoff, because it's always good to have Stab Knockoff. Crunch, just in case Knockoff isn't going to take it out, or I don't want to lock myself into it, because if I know later on Knockoffs won't start taking mons out, even at +1 or +2, I don't want to have to chance him taking a hit, so that's what Crunch is for. Crunch also has the defense drop possibility. In some testing in the OU tiers, I actually was able to sweep with him late game by just crunching, and luckily crunches were enough to take out 4 mons, especially when I got it to +2. At +2, it pretty much just wipes through anything that stands in its path. And then Dragon Claw is for that Noivern. Noivern can do lots of damage. If it drops Draco and hits, it one-shots. There's not many mons on my team that survive Dracos, so I do have a switch in with Sylveon, so he can't just drop Draco recklessly, because even then Draco does not one-shot. Draco does nothing to Sylveon, and then Sylveon is allowed to get a free hit off, which means he either has to switch out into something that can take it, i.e. maybe Rotom Wash, maybe even Nidoqueen, defensive Nidoqueen, or Aromatisse, but even then they still take a lot of damage depending on their sets and how he decides to bring them. So so other than that, he can't really just drop Dracos willy-nilly. Plus, if his Noivern is not scarfed, Dragon Claw one-shots it, guaranteed. There's no way he survives it. I don't like locking myself into Dragon Claw, especially if he does bring that Aromatisse, but I do definitely see that Aromatisse coming in, so I might be able to get a free knockoff off going into it. Or if he does stay in, I might be able to knock off that Noivern, maybe get rid of some sort of Life Orb or something like that. That way his Dracos don't hit nearly as hard, and stuff like that. So I like this set. I think this is going to be this is probably one of my biggest win conditions late game. It's pretty much use my team to weaken him, and then Crocodile comes in and sweeps up the game after that. So that's what I'm kind of hoping for with that, and hopefully everything goes to plan like that. Next, we're bringing Princess again. This is going to be our physical wall, but instead of rocking leftovers, we actually decided to rock the Colbur Berry. Blastoise does get access to Dark Pulse. Dark Pulse does get the boost from Mega Launcher if he does bring Mega Blastoise, but other than that, there's nothing much that touches this thing. Infernape can't touch it. Mew could touch it with a Dark Pulse, hence why I ran the Colbur Berry. Rotom Wash can touch it. This thing really kind of gets walled by Rotom Wash, but that's why I did Will-O-Wisp for the recover damage and all of that. Only thing he can do is Pain Split, but if I anticipate a Pain Split and go into a weak mon, he might just Pain Split himself down and recover some of my HP instead. Plus, this thing one-shots, it one-shots Noivern, it one-shots, Nidoqueen. It can burn and do damage to Aromatisse. It can, setting up Will-O-Wisps on his physical mons are going to be extremely huge. And plus, this thing pretty much walls Infernape. Even if it has Grass Knot, it does minimal, and if it goes for the Grass Knot and it doesn't kill, he's going to take a Scald and he's going to lose the Infernape, which is a very, very big move that I need happening for this. So we are also going to be rocking Water Absorb, so that way he can't fire off Scalds willy-nilly. So I do not anticipate him firing off Scalds. Plus, if I figure that he will go for that Scald burn, I can bring this thing in and gain a quarter of my HP back, and then that puts him in a spot where I can get either a free Will-O-Wisp, a free Recover, or a free Scald. So I'm hoping for Scald burns, Ice Beams. If I anticipate him bringing in like Nidoqueen or something like that, I can then go for Ice Beam. Even then, Nidoqueen does not take Scalds very well, especially if it's burned. If it's physical Nidoqueen and it gets burned, it's absolutely useless. It's Sheer Force Life Orb, so as it is, it's just kind of useless, but it could be a defensive set, special defensive set, so I'm not too worried about it. So he's going to have full HP investments, full defensive investments with 4 into special defense. He cannot, like I said, he can't take Dark Pulses very well. I did the calcs. Without a Cobra Berry, it's like 70% on a Dark Pulse from Mega Blastoise, and that is a modest nature Blastoise, so I cannot see him just firing off. I can't leave him in too long because I need him to be able to eat physical hits. Plus, this thing also spin blocks Blastoise, which I am going to be setting up one hazard, and I definitely want to keep it because it's going to come in crucial for my team. Since my team is not as fast as some of his Mons, I'm going to be trying to set up sticky webs, and so sticky webs are definitely going to be playing a huge part, considering once the speed comes down, some of my faster Mons will start out speeding his, and then I will be able to do damage before he will. So I like the set. I think it's a good set. Like I said, it walls Infernape, it walls Blastoise, and depending on Mew, depending on what it's running, it could be running Thunderbolt or Thunder. So I really don't know if it's defensive Mew, then we could kind of get into a stalemate. It really just kind of depends on that point. Next, I'm going to skip over one Mon because I want to do Smeargle last because he's got a fun set. So we're going to go, we're bringing Ruby this week, and Ruby is our special wall. This thing walls Blastoise, and it walls especially offensive Rotom Wash. So if he does bring offensive Rotom Wash, this thing walls it, and it can take quite a bit of hits. It can, excuse me, it can take a Draco Meteor, it can take an Air Slash, though it can't do much in return to Noivern, but it can start walling. We decided to go with Synthesis, Leech Seed, Giga Drain, and Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb is for pretty much just stab, chance to poisons. Giga Drain does massive damage. It does like 72% to Blastoise. So if I weaken it, I can take a Dark Pulse or I can take an Ice Beam. Ice Beam does not one-shot me depending on the range I'm at. It does do decent amounts of damage, like 60%. But as long as I'm at 80+% and he doesn't crit, I should be just fine. And then I can Giga Drain, I can take it out and regain most of my life back. Leech Seed is just so that way if I know the switch is coming, I can set up a Leech Seed, which then forces another switch out, and then allows me to either switch into another Mon that I am going to anticipate him coming with, or I can be able to kind of play with it there. Like I said, Giga Drain is just for stab. I thought about Leaf Storm and then doing some sort of other move like Toxic, but I don't see that being, I don't see needing to do that. Nor do I just want to leave myself with one attacking move, because if I have to go on the offensive, I don't want to have to Toxic and Leech Seed something just to set up 2 turns, and I didn't like that. So I went with Sludge Bomb because it does do decent amounts of damage, and plus the chance of poison is going to come in very, very clutch. The HP investments are 236, 20 in defense, and then 252 into special defense with a Calm Nature. This thing can eat up Thunderbolts like it's nothing. It can eat up a lot of stuff. I mean, Infernape does scare it out, but I also have, like I said, I have Princess to wall that Infernape anyways, because since Infernape can't really touch me. And even then, I think Grass Knot from a mixed version doesn't do too horribly much, unless he's Choice Specs, or no, even Choice Specs doesn't do too much because it's based on weight. Other than that, I like this. I like what she has. Natural Cure. I can go in. I can if something gets burned, or if I set up, depending on what it is, if they try to burn me, I can bring this thing in. It's immune to Toxic. If they try to Thunder Wave me, I can then switch it out. Natural Cure is just the obvious choice with the Black Sludge for just reliable recovery. And I really like this set. I really think this set's going to come in handy, and I think it walls this team pretty decently well. Especially that Aromatisse. Aromatisse can't touch this thing. Also, Blastoise can't do too much to this. Like I said, Ice Beam does about 60%, but also he gets scared out by Giga Drains. Rotom Wash can't touch it, and Nidoqueen. Sorry, I don't know why I'm losing my thing here. Nidoqueen can do damage to it, but it also is not going to appreciate a Giga Drain or a Leech Seed, or if by chance he uses a move like Earthquake, he will take Life Orb damage, and then I can just I can Synthesis it up. I'd have to calc it again, but I don't think Nidoqueen Earthquake does too horribly much, or at least it comes close to one-shotting me, but not fully one-shotting. So next we're bringing Lady Sylvanas, our Sylveon. This is our Choice Spec Sylveon with Pixelate. It is It is a bulky choice spec set, and it's running 248 HP, 248 attack, and 8 in special defense. Why did I? Oh, that's why. No. Why did I do that? Hold on. Oh, why did I do that? Oh, that's right, because even at 252, if I remember correctly, even at 252, this thing still has the same amount of HP. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, it still has the same number of attacks. So, so with that, I just decided that the 8 to put the extra into special defense was going to be more. I was thinking about putting it into defense, but 1 point of defense doesn't make that big of a difference. It only does like 1% less damage, and most likely I'm getting one-shotted or taking a huge amount of damage to begin with. So I decided that to put it into special defense to eat the more special hits, especially with Aromatisse and with Noivern. Hidden power, steel or poison might do some damage, but it's not going to do enough to kill me. Like I said, it does get walled pretty good by Nidoqueen, but Nidoqueen, I also have Hidden Power Ground. I also have Psyshock. Psyshock does a huge amount of damage to Nidoqueen. So even if he does go for Poison Jab and it doesn't kill, he's going to take a huge Psyshock, and depending on his range, it will one-shot him. It does almost close to 90%. So if he's at like 60% Psyshock and I can survive it, if I know I can survive the Poison Jab, I will take the Poison Jab and then Psyshock it to get rid of it, because Nidoqueen is kind of a little bit of a problem, but not too horribly much. And with this, she's rocking Hyper Voice for stab, Shadow Ball for Mew, and also for Dusknoir, and Psyshock for those that can't take it, like Infernape and Nidoqueen. And depending, Blastoise can't take it all that well either. And then Hidden Power Ground. Hidden Power Ground is for mons who can't take it all that well, like Scrafty. Scrafty doesn't take Hidden Power Ground very well. Infernape doesn't take it very well. If I know that the mon is levitating, or something like that, I'll probably just go with Hyper Voice. But if I predict a switch and he doesn't have his levitators, I could, Hidden Power Ground does do a decent amount of damage. So I do like that. I don't know if that's going to be the final move. I might just go with Toxic instead and bluff a Specs, or bluff, something else. Or, bluff that I'm not Specs and all of that. But I'm not quite for certain on if that's going to be the final move. But for right now, I think it's going to be the final move. And I think it does a decent amount of damage. Yeah, so. Sorry, I'm kind of scattered right now. I got up early and I'm not quite thinking. And then for our 5th mom, we are bringing our Purugly, which I don't know why its name is not there, or Catastrophe. There we go. You know what? There we go. There, got his name is Catastrophe. We got Catastrophe, our Purugly. This is a Silk Scarf Defiant set. Now I'm bringing this because it does do decent amount of damage. Plus, if he brings Intimidate Scrafty, that is going to be very bad for him. He can't just bring it in willy-nilly against Purugly, because Purugly will get a Defiant boost, and at +1 he starts doing a huge amount of damage. With this set, it has just enough speed. I sped crept a Infernape. While Infernape does get access to Mach Punch, and Mach Punch still does a lot of damage, I will fake out first, since my speed is faster than his, unless he's Scarfed. But at that point, having 252 into speed isn't going to matter. So it's just fast enough to be faster than that Infernape. Nothing I have will be faster than that Noivern. Nothing I have. But I can come in, I can fake it out, and then switch out, anticipating, something, maybe even going into Lady Sylvanas, or going into Ruby, or Jellicent, or something like that. Or maybe just sacking off and seeing if he's going to lock himself into something, and what it would be. Because then if he locks himself into Draco, I get a free switch into Lady Sylvanas, which means then he has to switch out into somebody, which means somebody's taking either a Hyper Voice, or a Psyshock, or something like that. So if I go into, if I anticipate he's going to, switch into Nidoqueen after Draco, because after that, if he's locked into Draco, he's not going to touch me. I could go for Hyper Voice, predicting Scrafty, and then that does huge amounts, and I think it actually one-shots Scrafty. If not, does a huge amount of damage to it. Or I can predict Psyshock, and then if he brings in Nidoqueen, that does 90%, and that could possibly change a huge amount of the game for me. So, I do see him setting up rocks with Nidoqueen, or Regirock, or his rock setters. So I do see him setting up I do see him bringing Nidoqueen with rocks, so I think he might be the Choice Band Life Orb set. Or I'm sorry, not Choice Band. What the hell am I talking about? The Sheer Force Life Orb set with rocks. So I think that's what he's going to try to do in the beginning, is to try to set up his rocks as quickly as he can. And so with this, our Catastrophe is going to be rocking Fake Out, Return, Body Slam, and Knockoff. Now, I didn't want to go all normal moves because if he brings Dust Noir walls the crap out of us because we can't touch it, literally. So I decided to give it Knockoff because Knockoff, you know, having a Knockoff user is always good. It still hits Mew. It hits everybody decently good. It also knocks off the item, especially if they have Leftovers or Black Sludge or Life Orb. Because then at that point, Life Orb can't go off. He doesn't get the damage bonus from Sheer Force. Or he still gets the damage bonus from Sheer Force, but he doesn't get the Life Orb damage bonus as well. Plus Body Slam. I chose Body Slam because, yes, it is weaker than Return, but Body Slam has that 30% chance to paralyze, which that will come in clutch, especially if I hit Rotom Wash with it. Since Rotom Wash cannot be slowed, if I hit him with it and he takes a Body Slam and gets paralyzed, that gives me a huge advantage because in Return can do a lot of damage after that. Silk Scarf makes all of our normal moves do 1.2 damage instead of normal 1.0 damage. And like I said, Knockoff is for Mew. As for Noivern, if Noivern is Life Orbed or Specs, I can knock it off and at least minimize the damage that then Noivern can do. Excuse me. So I like the set. I think, you know, I was debating between this one and the Choice Banded Scizor set. I also had a Dragonite set I was running before that was pretty good, but I in the end thought this one was going to be the best set to run because having Fake Out even to Infernape, if it's this thing versus Infernape, I outspeed it. My Fake Out will hit first, and it does like 30% plus Return takes it out after that because it does. Fake Out does anywhere between 28 to 34%, so around 30%, and then Return does 67 to 75%. So as it is, the combination of those two moves have the ability of taking each other out. So this thing can take out Infernape, and Infernape is a big possibility of running shop on my team. So I'm hoping that this thing will be able to pick up a kill taking out that Infernape. Like I said, Body Slam it's basically here to Body Slam things. It's here to not only get the speed decrease, but also get the paralyzation decreases, because I definitely do not want my opponent having all that speed, especially if it hits Noivern and paralyzes Noivern. Now I have Crocodile who outspeeds everything on his team, and nothing can touch it. Nothing matches it speed-wise. Doesn't mean he can't take damage from priority moves, but nothing touches it speed-wise. So I'm really hoping this set puts in a lot of work this week, and I think Body Slam is going to be one of those moves this week that's going to be the clutch move of the week. Now, lastly, for our last mon, we're bringing our new member. Our new member Smeargle, also named Big Boss. Just can't believe I screwed that up. Big Bob Ross, our Smeargle. So, Big Bob Ross is running probably one of the funnest sets I could have created for this thing. It is Jolly Nature. It is 252 HP, 252 speed. It has decent speed. It is rocking Spore, Extreme Speed, Sticky Web, and Endeavor. Now, like I said, I'm not going to survive mons that are faster or have priority. This thing versus Infernape is just a bad matchup. That's when I have to switch out because I don't want to break the sash too early. But this thing versus Nidoqueen, even if Nidoqueen outspeeds, which I don't think it does, he'll get his rocks up, but then I will be able to get my Spore out. So he'll be asleep, allowing me to set up a Sticky Web for free. And as once Sticky Webs are up, he'll then have to go into Blastoise to spin them away. Once then I can go into Princess, and Princess can then do some stuff. So hopefully rocks won't be up for a while. But also what it is meant to do, it is meant to take a hit, Spore something to sleep, and Endeavor. Endeavor is to weaken it down to 1 HP. Especially if I hit Noivern down to 1 HP, or if I hit Blastoise or Mew down to 1 HP, that's when Extreme Speed comes in, because either he's not going to switch it out, he's going to try to burn the turn of sleep to wake it up, and that's when I want to hit him with a priority move that has that is a priority +2. Nothing he has is priority +3. So as long as I hit him with Extreme Speed is stab. Even if he does get Leftovers recovery, I still take him out, even with no attack investments. this thing can still take it out with an extreme speed due to stab and just due to its nature. And it being at like 12 HP, this thing does like 14 damage. So it's enough to pretty much take out a mon that's been endeavored, and it's guaranteed. So I'm really hoping that this set comes in handy with taking out something very early, very clutch. I'm hoping by like turn 5 he has something extreme speeded down and he has sticky webs out, because then at that point if Blastoise is down, if he brings in the Blastoise trying to take it out or trying to do that and I endeavor it down, he's going to be stuck in a position where he's either probably gonna have to sack it off, and once Blastoise is gone, the main fear of losing sticky webs is gone. Though he can still run Defog Mew, I don't see that being the case. I think he's gonna run Screens Mew because he wants the screens up. And so I'm thinking what I'll probably end up doing is just sporing it, throwing up sticky webs, endeavoring it at its HP, and then bringing in probably Crocodile or Catastrophe. Because if it doesn't wake up, then Catastrophe can go for a fake out, which means he'll have to do some sort of stuff. And with Catastrophe speed, it outspeeds Mew to begin with, unless Mew is scarfed in some way. And then I can go for a body slam, I can go for a return depending on how much damage, or depending on if it's defensive. If it's defensive, I could just go into Crocodile, anticipating him using a psychic or anything like that, or I can go into Ruby. No, maybe not Ruby. I might be able to go into like maybe Sylvanas or even into Princess, and then throwing out a Scald or an Ice Beam or something like that, and just kind of letting it whittle itself down. So one of the main things that I need to make sure does not happen, I need to make sure that nothing on my team gets burned. Especially Catastrophe or Crocodile. If those two get burned, I'm going to be left in a huge bad situation. It is also possible that he goes for Scald on something, outspeeds me, and then gets the burn as I throw out a Spore, which means then Big Bob Ross does literally nothing at this point. I did have that happen in a match where a guy used Sludge Bomb. It hit me, broke me to Sash, and I did Spore it, but it did hit the poison proc, so I did hit poison, so I was not able to do anything with him except for pretty much just put him on sleep. But if even if I put let's say Rotom Wash to sleep, that puts me in a big position to come in with either Catastrophe or with Crocodile, because then Crocodile can get a free knockoff. And depending on who he brings in, if he brings in, you know, Mega Blastoise, yes, I'm not knocking anything off, but he still does a lot of damage. I can then switch into all of my switch-ins from there. So hopefully this team will work well. So once again, go into the big team thing here. So like I said, this week we're bringing Crocodile, Dundee, Princess, Big Bob Ross, Ruby, Lady Sylvanas, and Catastrophe. So I think this team is going to do very well. We're actually going to have our match tomorrow, so you guys will not see this video until Friday. When our match is, so this video will not go up before our match, but after our match this video will go up. So by the time you guys see this video, the match will be over. But I really like this team. I think the lower tier mons that I put on this team are going to put in a lot of work this week. As you see, I'm only bringing one of my OU picks, and I think it is going to be it's going to be one of those weeks where the planning is going to pay off. People who plan and people who plan their matches accordingly, and I am hoping this team was planned good enough for Vade, because I do know he likes long matches, he likes to draw things out, he likes to set up, and he also likes to get his screens off. So if I can stop the screens from getting off, if I can keep the momentum in my favor, I will win this match. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please like, comment, subscribe, and as always, and I will see you in our next video, which is our match with VadeWilkesBoothe and the New York Kecleons on Saturday, I believe. And remember, stay frosty, my friends, alright?